Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here. So, time to talk about Crota's End. It's been out for a couple of weeks or so, I think like 3 weeks, 3 weeks I think, 2 or 3 weeks. And it's about time that I gave you my personal review of Crota's End. Now, once the final shape comes out, at that point I will be redoing my Raids Ranked video and adding in, because since that video, Root of Nightmares has come out, and so as Crota's End now, and then the final shape raid. I'll redo that video, properly putting them in their appropriate slots. Now I am gonna tell you how to teach you how to do this raid, showing all the secret chests, and well, the 2 that are in the game currently. The 3rd one is gonna have to be patched in apparently, and the red border chest. First, the red border chest. At the start, you'll see all this in the background gameplay, but you will see 3 pairs of statues, one on the top, one in the middle sort of, and one down under. And make sure you remember which statue is glowing, either the left or the right one. In this case, all of the statues on the right were glowing. For this first entry part, there's going to be something called a chalice that's going to be in the center, right in front of you. You're going to pick that up. You're going to see a meter on the left-hand side of your screen. Once that fills up, you'll get enlightened, and somebody will have to take it off of you in 10 seconds. Within 10 seconds, or you'll die. So once somebody takes that chalice from you after it's full, you become enlightened, and you can interact with the plate. Bam! That starts the bridge, and you just keep chaining that with everybody else until the bridge is complete. Now that chalice, I have told you that right there teaches you pretty much most of the raid. Now the first encounter, when you get down into the first encounter, you need to be careful of traps and holes in the ground. I would suggest having a sword on. Do not use an Eager's Edge sword due to the tracking can hurt. The tracking on Eager's Edge hurts more than helps. Now, that chalice that we talked about in the previous encounter, you're going to pick that up, and you're going to, it's random, but the very first lantern that you see, there will be a deposit there. You just deposit there, somebody else has to pick it up. Every time you interact with the chalice and somebody takes it off of you or you deposit, you will be on a timer. So just make sure you communicate with your fire team to do that. After you pick up the chalice, after somebody else picks up the chalice, they'll need to get enlightened. The only couple of things about this encounter, once you become enlightened, when somebody takes the full chalice off of you, you can light up the lamps and that'll reduce your pervading darkness. It will also reset the timer. After that first lantern, all the other deposit spots are random. That being said, you can tell if you are at a deposit is if you look at the next lantern that you have to go to. If it's blacked out, you need to deposit there. If it's not blacked out, you're good to go. And keep in mind, at the end, sometimes there is an extra thing you have to deposit there. Also in the background, you will see where the secret chest is at, so just follow that along. Now, once you've gotten to the end, and you make sure that those last couple of lanterns are glowing, you can activate that final plate by someone being enlightened. You just want to pass that chalice around, keep accelerating that bridge. Same thing when you first launched into the raid. There will be unstoppable champions here. Keep that in mind, and they will constantly spawn, and they're unstop ogres. Once the bridge is complete, just run straight to the end. There will be a couple more swinging lanterns, but there. First encounter, done. Get your loot. Now, this is where the red border chest comes into play at the bridge encounter. So at the bridge encounter, in our case, we had the right lamp glowing, so you'll want to go in spawn, pretty much where you spawn at, directly under you and slightly a little bit over, that is the left one. The right one is on the opposite side, so if you are looking at the end of the encounter, the left side, that's where the totem is. For if you have left, on the right side, that's where the right totem is at. Now for this encounter, you need to have somebody designated as first and last chalice, and you need to have someone designated to go up for your first sword bearer, and then your left, middle, and right plates. Now this encounter, if you step on the middle plate, the two other plates activate. So that means each time you want to like get off of the plates or whatever, middle has to get off first before left and right. Because middle controls the plate, the bridge. However, left and right plates have to get stood on in order for that bridge to continue getting built. Yada yada yada. So what you're going to do, preferably get everyone enlightened first. You know what you're going to do is you're going to have that first person that has the chalice. Preferably you want the chalice holder that have tractor cannon on, but that's really only for like, that really helped on day one, and I can foresee that happening on master mode as well. So you want to grab the first chalice holder and your first sword holder, need to be together. If you're the first and last chalice, once your chalice is full, your sword bearer can take it off of you and then start the bridge. You line the bridge. That is the only time you will line the bridge. Somebody needs to stay on that plate. If you're for the first sword bearer, you need to communicate, like, especially when you're getting low, like, hey. Then once you're full, hey, take it off of me. Then once they take it off of you, you need to leave the middle plate, and you kind of need to search for a sword bearer. They're orange and sort of look like they're from Mustafar. Well, they would be born in Mustafar. Kill that sword bearer, pick up the sword. Do not do anything else with it. It has infinite ammo, so do not worry. Be careful to not swap weapons. Do not swap weapons. Do not try to use your class ability. None of that. You can use your grenade. Here's what I would suggest. If you're the first sword bearer or the first and last chalice, run blinding grenades. Blinding grenades are going to be your best friend here. If you don't want to use blinding grenades, then use shackle grenades. Stasis turrets also work, but I find them to be a little bit too slow. Blinding grenades, in my personal opinion, work the best. And I would personally also have on, especially if you're the first chalice holder, blinding grenades, and then in your aspects and fragments for arc, if you look at your fragments, there should be one that makes your grenades do jolt. It'll minus your discipline a little bit, but that doesn't matter. Have that on, and that'll really, really help out a crap ton. Now, after you've got everybody enlightened, the last person should be the first person that took the chalice. They'll take it. Both you and the first sword bearer will run up. At the base of the stairs, there will be a deposit for your chalice. Deposit it there, blinding. Kill the blue and black glowing sword knight. Kill him. The combo you really want to do, if you have your super especially, is heavy, super heavy, and just spam heavy after that. After you've killed that knight, slap in the sword. Once 3 people are up there, the next sword bearer will not spawn until the previous sword has been deposited. Once you have 3 people up there, make sure there's one on the left, one on the right plate, over closer to the end of the encounter. And then that middle person needs to get on. Everybody else at spawn can leave their plates, hide, get together, kill the sword bearers one by one, and have the one by one go up. Once everybody is up, middle plate needs to get off before left and right do. By the way, there'll be a crap ton of barriers, so keep that in mind. And if you're the blinding aid user, just toss the blinding aids to help out the people using the swords. Once everybody's up, everybody needs to come up, grab the chalice, do the same thing, get almost everybody enlightened. Last person can dunk it in. Once you've cleared enough ads and killed the ogres that will spawn on each side, they're just regular ogres, not on stops. Once you've done that, pick up the swords that you just deposited. Once you pick up those swords, make sure whoever's you're blinding, throw blinding, because the knights will kind of come out all at once. It'll be 6 knights, I believe. They'll all come out and just kill them. Now, that's the encounter. That's the bridge encounter. The part 2 of the red border chest. It's in. You do not progress further into the building or whatever. On that top of the bridge area, there's going to be one interactable on the left side, one on the right side. but it's applied as if you are looking at the stairs. If you're looking at the stairs, to your left, that's left, to your right, that's right. You're going to see me go to the right one. And they're just tucked away in a little corner. You can also do both of these in the middle of the encounter. It'll stay the same way even if you wipe. Now for the second secret chest, as you want to pick up the chalice, get up to that green wall, get enlightened, go straight through there, kill the Shrieker, so that'll let everybody else through. Then do it a second time, deposit the chalice as soon as possible. It doesn't matter if one person gets to the final room, it matters if you deposit. And then bam, the secret chest will spawn. Now Urdute, most people use machine guns now. Machine guns or linears will work. You want to make sure to have one div user. That is kind of necessary, and preferably a well warlock. The footage y'all will see, I'm pretty sure is going to be full. It's either going to be the full arc run that I did on warlock or the Titan run. Either way, it's not necessary, but well, it's preferred. But you do need divinity. For this encounter, you have a couple of roles here. One role is scout. That's what I was. I would scout, and I'll explain what that is. You will also want your wizard killers. Your wizard killers shouldn't really be your well in divinity. You can do both, but I do not suggest it. Now, after you've designated your spot, your peeps. I'm not going to teach you in my personal opinion, doing there's an enlightened cheese that you can do underneath the bridge. To me, it's slower. And to me, it's a waste of time because, come on. You still need time for your scout to actually do the work. So, you're going to split up 3 and 3. 3 to the left, 3 to the right. You're going to come out. I use blinding nade, so I just threw a grenade there. You want to progress through, kill all of the big boy knights. Once you get up there, you're going to get into a room with the Shrieker. You need to kill as many knights until that Shrieker opens up. Once you kill it, it drops the fog walls. Okay, now I'm going to explain the scout part. If you are the scout, what you need to do is you need to pay attention where Urdute is at. Urdute is the boss with a white immunity shield. You need to look at Urdute. If she is on the left side, you can hop on this right little pillar and then jump onto the balcony. If she is in the middle, I usually go to the left. But if she's on the right, you really should go over to the left. It's more so to stop her from, absolutely beaming you. But once you get on the balcony, what you're going to do is you're going to hug the right wall. You'll know what I'm talking about because all of them will be surrounded by green walls, and you'll see it in the background gameplay. But you want to lean up against one of the walls. If you see a red circle with a white, if you see a red dot with a white circle, do not call that. If you lean up against the middle platform, you see nothing, no red dot with a white circle, call, hey, spawn middle. And if you see red circle, red dot with a white circle on the left, don't call that. On top of the balcony, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, but if you're on the left, if you're looking at the Oversoul, on the left side of the middle, you can see top left. If you can directly see a wizard there. If you see the wizard, call top left tower. If you see a Shrieker, don't call anything. Only call when you see the wizards. And if you're looking at the Oversoul, on the right of spawn middle, you can see at the bottom, if you look at the right side of the inner pillar, you can see whether or not there's a Shrieker there. And then you gotta move on to the right tower if you haven't found all 3 of those. And on the right tower, stand on the top ledge and look at the red dot with the white circle around it. There'll be a black arrow, a black grayed out black arrow, a little triangle. If the triangle is pointed upwards, that means it's bottom right tower. However, if the triangle is pointing downward, it's going to be top right tower. That being said, only check right tower if The left tower has only shriekers, and spawn doesn't have. If spawn and left tower doesn't have all 3 shriekers, then check the right tower. Now, then after that, just go back to middle, clear ads. That's your job as a scout. You've done your job. Congratulations. Now, if you are a wizard killer, the first damage phase you will need 3, the second damage phase you will need 4. If you need a third damage phase, you will need 5. In that case, the well person with divinity will have to do, well, preferably scout, you will have to do it as well. Kill a wizard. I'm just going to talk about your 3 wizard killers. Somebody needs to pick up that chalice. One of you 3 needs to pick up the chalice, waiting to get enlightened, give it to the next person, they get enlightened, give it to the third person, they get enlightened. The 4th person, in my case when I was in Warlock, I was the div person, so I just did it myself. But also, technically speaking, your scout can do it. Doesn't matter as long as it's not one of the wizard killers. Wizard killers, you're going to go wherever your scout told you to go. In the meantime, whoever picked up the chalice 4th needs to go back down the center where y'all came out at, and there's going to be a little deposit spot for the chalice. After you've done that, you can climb back up, kill ads. Wizard killers, once all 3 of you are in position, go in it and nuke the wizards. Couple of things of note. As soon as you kill the wizard, it will start a timer to do damage. You have to deal a certain amount of Erdut's health bar in order to not wipe, for it to not wipe you. You have to deal enough damage to it to not wipe. And that timer will start as soon as one person kills the wizard. Once you've killed the wizard, the green fog walls will disappear, and you can only go through the fog walls if you are enlightened. So once you get out of the fog walls, go to damage, it'll be in the center. Your well warlock will place their well, and divinity, they'll slap the divinity. And then you just deal damage. As soon as damage is done, whoever is a wizard killer will go down, pick up the chalice immediately, and start the enlightened. Scout, you're going to go and see where the wizards are, and whoever's 4th now is going to have to get enlightened, and whoever is left is going to have to take that chalice off of that 4th wizard killer and deposit. And the scout, make sure you check for 4 on that second damage phase. Couple of things of note. If you are too slow, Erdut will start something called a dark ritual or something like that. So keep in mind, if you are too slow, the damage timer will start regardless of whether or not you have killed a wizard. In the case that happens, just go in, kill the wizard, come out. So that you have more people there for when that last person kills their wizard. And there you go. There is Erdut. Now, technically speaking, if the scout is really experienced, they'll just do this automatically. But after Erdut, get on the balcony, which is above you in spawn. And stand in the middle, well, you can stand in the middle tower, or better yet, just get in between one of the left, middle, and right and middle, whatever. Just get on the balcony. Looking at the oversoul. On your left, that is left. On the right side, that is right. If that makes sense. Another way to look at it is where the rally flag is at. If you just go forward a little bit, close to the ledge, turn around, and if you're staring directly at spawn middle, the one on your left is actually right, and the one on your right is actually left. So just make sure to keep track of that. And then there you are. There is the red border chest all active and ready for you. Now you're ready to take on the big boss himself, Crota. Now, Crota's kind of complicated. You will need a tractor, preferably a well. If you do not have a well, you really should have a Void Titan. Well, you need one of the two, either well or bubble. And not necessarily both. You are going to need a tractor, and you're going to need Lament. If you don't have Lament, most other swords will work, as long as it's just a sword in general. Now here you will need 2 sword bearers, 2 boomers, 1 oversoul, and 1 ad clear. Explain the boomers first. Your job as a boomer knight is you're going to get on top of the left, 1 is going to go on top of the left tower, 1 is going to get on top of the right tower, and there's going to be 2 boomer knights that are going to spawn. You're going to kill 2 waves of those boomers, so 4 in total. And then you all need to decide, okay, I'll say for you. Y'all can choose a different left or right side. The left or right side needs to leave 1 of the boomers alive in the 3rd wave. So one side needs to kill 6 boomers in total, the other side needs to kill 5 boomer knights in total, leaving 1 alive, so that it doesn't respawn. What that does is it spawns sword bearers on the ground. Now sword bearers, sword bearers, whoever's first sword needs to go down, pick up the chalice, and after you've picked up the chalice, you need to wait for you to get full, so somebody can take it off of you, can get enlightened. However, you need to do the transfer of the buff in a pool on the ground. It sort of looks like the damage pool from King's Fall. That's the closest thing I can equate it to. It's just a white pool. You have to do it in there, otherwise you cannot transfer the buff outside of it. So once you're full, once you get enlightened, your second sword bearer should be the one to take it off of the first sword bearer. First sword bearer, you go find the sword knight. It's gonna look the same as the bridge encounter. Kill it, grab the sword. While that's going on, second sword bearer, you're going to wait until you get enlightened. Well, wait until your bar is full. Then whoever is oversoul and tractor. If you are tractor cannon, you should be doing oversoul. And tractor people should be using a fusion rifle. I would say if you were using Pyrogale gauntlets, honestly Cartesian will work really well. Other than that, just use any kinetic, either kinetic fusion or an energy fusion. Just a fusion rifle of some sort. Your tractor cannon, your oversoul guy, is going to take it off of the second sword bearer. Once that's happened, oversoul, you're just going to wait to get enlightened. And second sword bearer, you're going to go find a sword knight, kill it. Take the sword. Swords have infinite ammo, so just go ham with it. Once your oversoul guy has his bar fully charged, your 4th person that is in that pit with you, that's just ad clearing, is going to have to go to a pool and take the chalice off of the oversoul. So that oversoul guy will get enlightened, and then whoever has the chalice can dunk it back in the middle. Now, once you've dunked it, everybody needs to go to where you started the encounter at, to pull Crota closer over there. And whoever's tractor is going to, once the sword bearers are ready, tractor is going to run up, tractor, preferably run away just a little bit, and your 2 sword bearers, you're going to heavy, super heavy, and just spam heavy. You're going to heavy, super, and then just spam your heavy. That should knock his shield down. If you have a well, I would suggest welling during that time as well. Unless you're the well sword bearer, then just use your sword. And then he'll get down on 1 knee if you successfully got his shield down. At this point, if you're the oversoul, tractor man, alright? You're going to tractor him, and you're going to pay attention to a timer called the oversoul. Going to pay attention to that timer. Everybody else is going to do damage. Damage, right? Once that timer gets around 5 seconds, if you don't have a fusion rifle, you need to start doing it sooner. Around 5 or 6 seconds. On Crota, like over at the other end of the arena, so the opposite of spawn, you're going to see a giant glowing green ball. You'll see me shooting it. That is the oversoul. You're going to want to shoot it with 2 fusion rifle shots. And that'll stop damage phase, but it'll also stop Crota from wiping your team. After that, you definitely take 2 damage phases. You're just going to rinse and repeat. only thing I'll say is for Final Stand, you'll want to get away from him. Once you've gotten low, if you need to take Oversoul, you still need to have one Enlightened. Oversoul. Once that's started, Final Stand has started, you're going to want to pay attention to that timer again. If you're really close to, if you know you can do the second damage phase, you don't necessarily need to pay attention to Oversoul, but just in case you don't have enough damage, I would suggest pay attention to it, blasting it. Now after that, and by the way, I believe you have 3 damage phases in order to get to Final Stand, in Crota's case. Now once Crota's on Final Stand, you're going to want to pay attention. Tractor, do some damage to Crota to help out, and then once it's close, you're going to want to shoot that Oversoul. The reason why you want to do this is it extends damage phase for a little while longer. And then, bam! There you are. You've killed Crota. Now that you've killed Crota, you can collect your loot and the Necrochasm Cattle, the quest. Now, I'm going to give you my review of Crota's End. But that was a super quick explanation, but let me know what y'all thought of that explanation of the raid. So, and I'm not gonna go over any of the challenges or any of that stuff. So, especially because the challenges aren't even in the game yet. So, my review of the raid. Let's talk about visuals first. I like the raid visually. I think it's a pretty solid raid visual. I would personally give it like a 6. I think I'd give it about like a 6 out of 10. In terms of visuals, I give it a 6 out of 10. In terms of the armor visually is really good. Hunter, in my opinion, is the weakest. Warlock has 2 strong pieces. The Titan set in general I think is pretty good. I'd give it, because the green spikes are not shadable, I have to give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. That is good. I really wish the green spikes were shadable, but unfortunately they are not. If they were, it definitely would shoot it up to like an 8 or 9 out of 10, but unfortunately I can't seem to do that. Now, the weapons. The loophole is pretty good, and thankfully we got another arc machine gun, even though the season came with one. The World of Crota has the Void Hand Cannon, has some pretty good rolls. Some pretty solid rolls, and some rolls that I was looking forward to, like demo and destabilizing rounds. The auto rifle can get heal clip and incandescent, which is interesting. I'm gonna have to wait to craft that and really give it its fair shot, but yeah. I'm kind of disappointed that there's only one heavy weapon and only one special weapon, that being the shotgun, and everything else is, the other 3 weapons are primary, the pulse, hand cannon, and the auto rifle. That kind of sucks. I wish we had at least one more special or maybe one more heavy. I love the look of the weapons visually. My only issue with the weapons and the loophole is the fact that is the exotic. Bungie limiting over your Oversoul collection to once per account per week sucks. I would personally rather, instead of, just getting 1 per week, I would rather it be a guaranteed drop on boss completion, but like 1 per character. So, because you have to get 55 in total to get Necrochasm and its Catalyst, which is abysmal. I would personally rather, because at least in that way, because at maximum, if you run 1 every week, at maximum, you need to do the raid for almost a full year. Almost 8, because there's 56 weeks in a year, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is almost a year before you are guaranteed to get Necrochasm and its Catalyst done. That is absurd. I know it's farmable, but I would rather have it not be farmable at that point. Which is why I'm not really going to grind for any of it until Bungie changes it. I really wish it was at least 3 guaranteed per week. That would incentivize it for me to run the raid on all characters, but I'm just not. So in terms of loot, Necrocosm isn't even that great. So in terms of loot, I'm going to give it about an 8 out of 10. I think I'll give it an 8 out of 10 in general. The mechanics of the raid, in my opinion, are very solid. I just think that Chalice is overused, in my opinion. Other than that, the changes they made were great. It's just, man, I got sick of the Chalice after running it for so long. Like, unlike King's Fall was pretty new. Like, the brand claimer wasn't in every single encounter. Other encounters were changed slightly to accommodate. Like, there was no brand claimer for orcs or daughters or Golgoroth. And I'm just like, bro. I feel like they could have done a little bit better with Crota's End. I think difficulty is really good. Do I recommend this raid for beginners? No. I do not. In my personal opinion, in terms of difficulty as a free-to-play, I think you should start with Vault of Glass. Once you're comfortable with that, I think you can move to Crota's End. And then once you've done more comfortable with Crota's End, then I think King's Fall. The only thing with King's Fall is long. King's Fall is pretty darn long. And it requires a lot of communication, and nobody is ever just purely ad clear. Well, I mean, nobody is ever really just pure ad clear. At least throughout the entire raid, you can't get through the entire raid with just being pure ad clearing. Like, guaranteed. Now, question is, can it reach the top 3 raids? Those raids being King's Fall, Deepstone Crypt, and Vow of the Disciple. No. I don't think this raid tops any of them. I think mechanically it's holding it back because it's just the Chalice is just overused. And the raid is kind of short. But I don't know. It's gonna have to stand the test of time. In my opinion, it's number 4. So those are my thoughts on Crota's End. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Some other channel news. First off, I will be day 1 raid racing. I will be racing. I will be going for World's First for the Final Shape raid. I will be going for World's First. I think I have a good opportunity to at least produce some results here. That being said, I will not be streaming it on YouTube here. I will actually be streaming it on Twitch. I'm not going to drop any Twitch links here or anything like that, due to the fact that I plan on still doing some stuff on YouTube for a while. Other than that, next week you will be seeing Mortal Kombat 1. We won't be starting the story necessarily in the first video, but we'll be looking at all the characters, seeing what's on the up and up. But we'll be looking at that. You won't see it on the 19th, because 19th I work 10-hour shifts or whatever. But y'all will be seeing it in next week sometime after it comes out. Also, check out the Remnant 2 playthrough me and my girlfriend are doing. But that is going to be all for now. Look forward to next month, because next month y'all will be getting a very, very special Bloodborne playthrough. And then later on in October, you will also be getting a Spider-Man 2 playthrough. I will be playing that game, and I will definitely be getting the deluxe edition. So, some very, very, very exciting stuff coming to the channel here. I haven't been posting that much lately. I'm trying to gear up for specifically my Bloodborne project, and then getting ready for Mortal Kombat and Spider-Man 2. On that note, I will catch y'all on the flip side.